Hi, so you're very welcome for this week's relaxation with Tom McKenna, and thank you very much for joining us. And I am going to welcome in Tom. Tom, how are you?
How is everybody? I hope everybody is super well out there. And I hope that your Christmas preparations are going according to plan.
Yeah.
But don't forget to make sure you get yourself your relaxation every day. And I believe Jamie was telling me that the nutrition element today was all about high life force foods, my favorite subject, basically. And when I was involved in the therapy end of things, everybody that came in the door got a diet, and the whole kind of principle of the diet was to increase the amount of life force that was available to the person, because in general they were unwell because their life force was down and it was affected by whatever their circumstances were. But a large contributor to how much energy you have is the food you put in your mouth every day. Because for a lot of people, the type of food that they eat has very low life force, and it causes demands on the body, which lowers your energy because it has to A, break it down into some form of nutrition that it can use, and B, it has to get rid of the toxins and the food that is almost approaching non-food, if you like.
Yeah.
So that takes up a lot of your energy, your physical energy and your mental energy, which doesn't leave you a lot left over to tackle situations in your life that you may need quite a bit of energy for. For example, even staying in good health. Your body has to have enough life force at its disposal to keep you in good health. And
Yeah.
obviously, as well, to have you feel mentally and physically very well. They're all so. When a person came along, say to the therapy originally, we felt that it was appropriate that we would put them on, change their program to a healthy diet, so that they would at least have dealt with that aspect of things. And many, many years later, I bumped into people around Dublin or various places, wherever I was working at the time. And they would just come up to me in the street and say, "Guess what, Tom? I'm still on the diet. I'm still on the program you gave me." And they would be looking well on it, I have to say. They would be, they would say, "Well, it's really flood me a little instead." And a lot of, I mean, the last guy I heard about was one of the chaps who was going around the area of Ecclesfield where we have our centre, and he was just talking to people at the door about our seminars and so on. And almost the first door he went into, there was a guy answered the door who was 84, and he wanted to know was I still over there, and he was to tell me that he was still on the program and on the diet and feeling really, really well. So sometimes you have to last a long time to prove the system, which I always find quite funny in a way that the only way you can prove how good it is by staying around a lot longer than most people will. And so I
But
guess
but
that's
that's
a big
yeah, and but that's very true because a lot of people tout different health diets and different ways of living, but it doesn't seem to have caused people to have extended their lifespan by anything dramatically. In fact, if anything, they really seems to be shorter.
well. I think that's and it's something that I think people um, if in fairness to them, if you were suggesting a nutritional change or a lifestyle change, even including relaxation and that type of thing, um, people they're going to say, well, look, how much benefit can I expect from this? And in a way, the type of program that I would be suggesting for the person in the immediate state that they were in would be a change in their physical and mental condition that they came to me with. Now, after that, then they wanted a program and a way of operating that would stand them in good stead going into the future, and they wanted their future to be long and healthy. And I think that's a great way of looking at it. And I think that if people pay attention to increasing their life force and increasing the flow of that life force through the body, through nutrition, through a mental state, a way of holding your mind, and the relaxation, I think that they will have can have a very long and healthy and fruitful life. And I think that's, to me anyway, that's worth pursuing. So everything that we were involved in at that stage, way back then, was aimed at people having a very healthy and successful life going forward. And I think, in fairness, a lot of the people who came along to the therapy, who are, I suppose, still on the program and working away, and seem to have epitomised almost what can be done if you actually pay attention to high life force foods, energy exercises that increase your life force, and relaxation techniques that also increase your life force. So it would be the general theme running through everything that we do. We're very into the idea that you need to keep your life force at an all-time high and avoid what suppresses it. And so, in fairness to Martin, who spoke to you about the nutrition, that's his baby, and it's what he's very, very good at and very informed. But as he spoke to you then earlier on, I didn't hear the actual piece, but if he was speaking to you about nutrition in relation to increasing your life force, well, then you're talking about taking foods in that have a life force of their own, so that you're eating foods that are alive with life force, and that you don't have to deplete your own energy resources just to digest it. So that makes a big difference now to a person's health. If you are on foods over a period of time that clog the system, you can't express that life force. And anything that you eat then at that stage is depleting that resource. And so if that continues on, then complications occur. And basically that's when you end up in ill health, and where your natural energy levels just for coping with day-to-day situations is depleted. And that's where depression comes in. And so you've got a whole group of problems associated with a low life force.
That's, I mean, it's so crucial, I think, for people maybe tuning into this for the first time, or people even who've been maybe following these relaxations, is to really understand that when you join a program with the Duco Gym, that is exactly what we're aiming to do, is through nutrition is to increase energy, life force, through the supplements to increase that life force. And there's some incredible supplements that you can take to really help that. Things like Nova for the nitric oxide for extra flow and opening up your circulatory system. And then so the relaxation obviously really fits in with that, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, you see, you don't just expect the relaxation on its own. It would be foolish to just say, okay, you can do it all in relaxation, when you have other methods at your disposal that you can put into the situation and accelerate the effect. So the nutrition and the supplements that we spend, like an awful lot of supplement, I suppose, suppliers and so on, contact us all the time to stock their goods, but 90% of it never makes it onto the shelves because it really isn't good enough for what the type of work that we do. So you're always looking for a product that is going to really produce a result. There aren't that many products out there that really genuinely produce a result. So we're only interested in stocking that type of product. And so we stick with that rigorously. We only promote the type of diets that increase your life force. And we basically explain to you in no uncertain terms what the foods are that do the opposite. The relaxation then with that is a mechanism whereby for a period of time you relax all stress. And in the gap, then, as I was saying last week, that causes your life force to flood out. It allows it to be available in the body and in the mind. And that life force, as again I was saying, is your true identity, if you like, or your what you came into the world with. And it has a direction of its own. And as it passes through the body and through the mind, it corrects everything and brings it back into alignment again. Now, that means that if enough of that is able to flood the system and it brings it back into alignment, you have health, mental and physical health. Now, if you add that to a nutritional program that allows you to take in high life force foods, and you add in supplements that add in that, increase that life force as well. You do a training system that basically increases your life force. So you're hitting it from all angles. And that's the structure of what we do is designed. And when Tony was setting out those structures, that's what he had in mind, was to increase the person's life force. And that would take care of problems that people would come across in their day-to-day lives. Now, if you really probably knew the extent to which that can overall health, you would probably be very enthusiastically practicing it every day. But not everybody really understands how effective it is. But in the years that I was involved in the therapy end of things, hundreds of thousands of people would have come through the therapy in one form or another, and they had remarkable results. I mean, totally amazingly remarkable results. So when you are involved in that type of approach and it works so well, you are always very enthusiastic that other people would use it if they find themselves feeling unwell or poorly. And so that's what I was just speaking to a couple of people earlier today who are quite unwell, and they would need to make massive alterations in the way that they operate to have any chance of coming out the other side of the particular problems that they have. So I would spend quite a bit of my time where I would be speaking to these people and explaining to them why they should seriously look at making alterations in the way they operate. Now, in fairness, when a person is unwell like that, if they're not in despair, which sometimes they are as a matter of interest because they can be very unwell, they will be at a point where they would give something a try that they maybe wouldn't have if they felt okay. So, but you do want to make sure that if you're offering a solution to the person in that situation, that there's some chance that it will make a difference to them and that they will come out the other side. So I'm always very conscious that I'm not overstating something, but at the same time, I feel that because of the type of my background and the work that I've done over the years and the work that we've done as a group, if you like, where we've had many people through our hands in relation to training and nutrition and so on, and you see the results, you become quite, I suppose, interested and enthusiastic about the person having a shot at changing the way they operate so that they can feel so much better. So if you know you can get a result and you've done it many times, we would tend to then, I suppose, have the attitude, look, just have a shot at this and see how you actually get on. And from the results that we've gotten, we would know that if the person would pay attention to what we were suggesting and give it a shot, that they would do exceptionally well. And it's the same with the relaxation, which is why we do a relaxation session every week with you, with a view to having you take on board the fact that you're actually in charge of what happens next in your life. And I think that's very important to understand, that the type of mindset that you would maintain, the physical energy that you have, depending on the type of foods that you eat, and also your ability to let go of stress for a period of time every day makes a massive difference to how you feel. So this is why I would be saying, well, okay, Jamie, let's try and do a relaxation session every day, and maybe then people would practice it themselves every day. So I would just get around to kind of, I suppose, promoting the idea and suggesting to you that you keep going with that. And I would come along then, as we have done it over the last few weeks, and giving you some insights into how the relaxation works and the value it would have to you. So that's basically why we would. It's why we do what we do, if you like. It's why we have gyms that are structured in the way that they are. It's why that if you get a diet from us, it's a high life force diet. And then if we're talking to you about relaxation, we're talking about opening a gap in the normal mental state that you have yourself in and physical state, and creating a gap so that that energy can flow out. And as it passes through then all of the cellular structures, it causes them to come to life. It causes those cells to come to life, and it brings them back into balance because of the pattern of that life force. It has a pattern of perfection built into it, and that anything that it passes through, it brings it back into alignment again. And it's in alignment with that life force itself, which would be perfect health. And then it aligns itself also then with what you would call it the universal life force. I don't know, there are hundreds of different ways of describing that universal life force. People call it everything from God to spirit. So they have all sorts of different terms, which all mean the same thing, that you have a life force within you, which, if given the chance, will express itself through you, which will transform you physically and mentally and spiritually, if you want to use that term, and line you up then with what runs the whole show, I guess, which is a rather maybe strange way of describing that universal energy that's available. I mean, you know, just on that, there is just some interesting, even, I suppose, scientific research that would actually back up a lot of what people, I suppose, you know, there's a system of meditation called Zen, okay? And in Zen, they give you koans, which are like puzzles, if you like, that you have to kind of figure out and work out. And I'm watching the television last night, and there are these scientists, and they're jumping up and down about quantum physics, you see. And it's of an interest of mine as well. So they're talking about this, and then they're saying, look, at a subatomic level, particles can come out from a source, and they can go through gaps in say a wall and reform then on a panel at the back. Okay, but what is really exciting about it is that if we observe the particles as they come out, they change. And if we don't observe them, they go in a wave-like pattern. If we observe them, they become a particle, and they move as a particle. And they're going, oh my God, this is unbelievable. That the observer affects the subatomic level of particles. Wow. I'm going, holy cow, this is really interesting, because what they're describing basically is one of the famous koans in Zen would be to do with, you know, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody sees it, does it actually fall? That's a ridiculous statement. I can go back tomorrow and find the tree, and there it is. But the point they're making is do you create your own reality? So it gets all very fascinating. But what's interesting about it is they're scientifically starting to explain that at a subatomic level, you are particles and an energy, and that runs through your system, and that pattern has a direction of its own, and you interfere with it by observing it. So you have the opportunity to change your circumstances by observing it. But it depends on what's observing it. It depends on whether you understand how important it is to have a mindset that is healthy for your body and your mind. Otherwise, you are observing it and changing it. It's not for the best.
It's like we were saying. So it's like we were saying earlier, the nutrition talk that we were saying that I think it comes from maybe a Chinese proverb, but they say that a good mindset and a poor diet is better than a bad mindset and a good diet. Obviously, the optimal is to have both, but often people can sort of tell themselves when they're having certain foods that they're not flexible in their mind, but it is that same idea that you're very much affecting almost what you're putting into your body because of how you're thinking of it.
Totally. And whoever said that is 100% right, because I would prefer personally to have my mind right and take my chances on my diet.
Yeah.
That my mindset would affect it very positively. Whereas if I got all worked up about my diet to the point where I was just permanently freaked out, it's of no value to me whatsoever, because my whole digestive system is destroyed by this freaking out. So therefore, I can't expect to do well on even the best of food. But you're right. The ideal situation is to have them both, and for you not to get freaked out about either side. But I thought it was just fascinating that people, the scientists, are now beginning to delve into the world of Zen, really. And you would normally think that ne'er the twain should meet, but that's not actually how it works. Because the more they move on, the more they move into subatomic levels. I mean, even Einstein was not happy with the fact that they were heading towards the idea that if we didn't observe the moon, that it really wasn't there at all. I thought that was quite funny because, he wasn't having any of that anyway, because he thought that no matter what, it was there and that was the end of it. But subatomic quantum physics, all that type of thing, has moved on quite a bit, even since his time. And I think a lot of the stuff is actually quite fascinating, only because if you're familiar with relaxation, which leads to meditation, where you're focusing on something to the exclusion of everything else. So you're focusing in relaxation on letting go, and the exclusion of everything else means you're not bothering with your normal thought patterns. So if you observe what's happening then, you'd notice that there's a huge increase in that life force, and that comes up to the surface, and you feel incredibly well. I mean, really, if you get to a deep enough level of relaxation, you would go into a state of bliss where you would feel this incredible sense of well-being. Now, in that place where you're experiencing that bliss to that level, that has a tremendous effect on you physically and mentally. An incredibly positive effect where you feel very, very well. And the after effect of that would go on for days and days and days and weeks. So you can start to experience different levels of yourself, if you like, when you go into the relaxation very deeply. And that's what has such a transforming effect. The deeper the relaxation is, the more facets of that life force that you experience. So it's almost as if you are being educated by your own life force inside. And that has a transforming effect as it moves through both mentally and physically. And I find that a lot of people have learned through attending the seminars that we're doing at the moment, who have learned to do the relaxation to that level, find dealing with the present problem that we're having, which is this COVID situation, they find themselves able to handle that much better than people who are, because of their mindset, are struggling with the whole thing. So it does make a difference to how you handle situations that you're confronted with. So the more you're able to move into the relaxation, let go of any of these stresses, that allows that energy out. And as that floods the body and the mind, you feel incredibly well. And so if you feel incredibly well like that, even if you've got a physical or a mental problem that you're dealing with, it has a very transforming effect on the situation. So that's why I would always encourage people to pursue the relaxation every day if they could, because that may be the most beneficial thing you do for that day. No matter what you're doing from day to day, if you're able to put aside the stresses of the day and free out your own life force and let it have an impact on you physically and mentally, that's probably the most beneficial thing you have ever done, and certainly would be the most beneficial thing for that day. But the impact it has then on the rest of the day and on the rest of the week and on the rest of your life is immeasurable. It can totally transform everything that you're actually doing. So that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it, and that I would want people to get the hang of it and put some time into it so that they could experience the benefit of it. And that will change a huge amount of maybe situations that people find themselves in. So it's because we've had so much experience and the result levels are so high that I would just encourage people all the time to learn to do the relaxation, to pay attention to the type of foods that they eat, to train, to do all the things that will increase your life force. And in that state, physical and mental state, you will handle problems that come your way much, much more effectively than a person who was struggling with a very low energy level, which is the average person. To be honest with you, they wouldn't have terrific energy. And that's the first thing they'll tell you about it. And if a person is unwell, the first thing they'll say is, my energy is terrible. And they're kind of having to lie down and take a rest on a continual basis. And I have great sympathy for the person who was stuck in that situation. But at least I would feel that if they could get the hang of some of the techniques that I'm talking about, it does transform their lives to an incredible degree. Incredible now. So I'm super enthusiastic about it, to be honest with you, simply because it works so well.
Yeah, so effective.
Incredibly effective, incredibly effective. So that's why, when people are talking to me about, and they talk to me, ring me and so on, or their friends may talk to me about it. So I'm fairly constantly working with people. Now, I don't necessarily do what you would call like a clinic anymore. I don't. I may not even end up talking to the person who is unwell. But if they speak, if their friend speaks to me about them, what I would do is do my relaxation, and then you release that energy out to the person, and I get them to play one of the relaxation tapes. Get them to play that every day for the person who is unwell. And then I get feedback from the person as to how they're actually doing. Now, sometimes they may need a suggestion on nutrition and diet and so on. And because I have a background in clinical nutrition, I would just say to them, look, the type of situation that you're involved in may require you making an alteration in the type of food that you take in. And, do it. Even up to the other day, people will get tremendous results. for that. You know, I mean, the most amazing things respond to it. Like I was talking to somebody today who's a young person that they're friends with, very young, 8 or 9 years of age, who has like ADHD-ish and maybe going into autism slightly, and who's struggling big time now to manage in school and so on. And so they were suggesting, well, would I do some work on the person? And I said, look, I will do the relaxation and I will do the healing for them. And if you would try to maybe change a little bit about, how they approach things, and this person is qualified to do that. So they're doing that end, I'm doing the relaxation end. But this child was having tantrums and freaking out every day, maybe 5, 6, 7 times a day.
Wow.
And they literally hadn't for about 3 weeks until the other day. Do you see what I mean? So you can totally alter how the child behaves by adding those two kind of principles together, where you're increasing the amount of life force that is beamed out to the child. And it's almost like it kind of charges up the child's battery and frees out that energy in them. And they start to operate in a different manner. It's like they've had a new mindset transformed. So in other words, it seems to be capable of transforming all types of situations. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it. That's why I think that if people get the hang of the relaxation and they do it once a day, say, for instance, after about 3 or 4 weeks, they would have a remarkable change in how they felt. And then, as I say in relaxation, it doesn't stop there, because if you have that transformation in yourself, everybody that you come into contact with are affected by the new level of you, the same as they're affected by the old level of you. Yeah. They're now affected by the new level of you. And people are transformed by that without you having to say or do anything in particular. You're actually a different person. And your behavior is different. How you handle circumstances is different. And so the outcomes are different. And that sounds suspiciously like quantum physics to me.
Exactly. So we kick off with the relaxation. I know there's quite a few queries coming in from Harvey, but Harvey we will answer them at the end. We're not ignoring you, and so we'll let Tom get on with the relaxation, the job at hand.
Okay, will do. No problem. All right. Okay. All right. So guys, what we'll do then is we'll kind of move through the relaxation now. And if you've been to the relaxation sessions a couple of times, well, then you're familiar with the mechanism and how we work. If you're not, I guide you through the relaxation initially, and I do that on purpose so that you've got somebody to listen to other than your normal mindset. So we're getting a distraction mechanism going here, where I distract you by getting you to distract yourself. So we take you away from what you normally think about for a period of time. Now, if you've been doing it for a few weeks, you'll notice that as soon as we start to move into the relaxation, you start to feel the changes taking place. You start to feel this energy moving through the body. You feel it kind of passing through all the cells and so on. And that just happens automatically nearly as soon as you set it up to do it. So if you want to now, you can either stretch out on the floor. Try and make sure that you're in a room that you're not going to be interrupted. All right. So just closing the eyes, lying on the bed, lying on the floor, or sitting in a chair. It's nice if you know you're not going to be distracted, so you can actually let go completely and just relax. Because if you think somebody is going to barge in, or you think you're going to be interrupted, you're going to be thinking of that. So always try and set it up so that people know, hey, don't disturb me for half an hour, and that's it. So that's the way to do it. All right, so we'll assume that's the situation. So now you're stretched out on the ground, so your hands are on each side, with the palms of the hands facing upwards. You let your feet fall off to each side. So the feet fall off to each side. They're not held together. You just let them fall off to each side. Tuck your chin in a little bit. So that brings your head forward on the ground. No, don't strain it now. Just bring it in a little bit. That's good. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, your feet are flat on the ground already. That's great. Your hands are on your lap. The palms of your hands are facing upwards. That's marvelous. Now you'll find that when you position yourself for the relaxation, if you've been practicing every day for a period of time, just the positioning of yourself moves you into the relaxation straight away. Now that would mean for some people that they start to feel an energy passing through the body straight away, because as soon as they move into the relaxation position, that switches everything off mentally, and the stresses fall away, and the energy starts to become apparent instantly. Then you could actually feel the energy then straight away. Now, if you're only just getting started, okay, that's something you can look forward to, because that will happen anyway, but little by little. So I want you to bring your attention now down to your feet. Any tightness or tension in your feet, just let it go now completely. Let go of any tightness or tension there. Now you will find as we're moving through the body that you may have areas that you didn't realize were tense, but when you bring your attention to them, you realize that you are. So that's good. Store stress. And that's all good, because you can then relax that and not do any damage to yourself. You're always looking to lessen any damage that stress will do. And that's why the relaxation is so valuable to you. So bring your attention now down to the feet, as I was saying, and you let go of any tightness or tension there. As soon as you let that tension go, you feel like an energy in the feet. It can feel like a tingling sensation, or it can feel like a heat. And just, that's fantastic. Just go ahead with that now. Bring your attention now to your calves. Let go of any tightness or tension in the calves. Same thing again. You may find, much to your amazement, that you hold your calves very tight, and you never noticed that before. So let go of any tightness or tension there. And it's the same thing. You'll feel an energy moving into the calves there. It's like it's being freed out, and it can pass through the cells. All right. That's very good. Bring your attention now to your thighs. Tightening completely. That's really good. Bring your attention now to your thighs, just letting it go. Let go any tightness or tension. Just letting it go now completely. Now you're bringing your attention to your hips. Let go of any tightness or tension in the hips now. Just let it go completely. That's really good. Any tightness or tension now in the hips, just letting it go. Now I want you to bring your attention to the base of your spine. That's it. And any tightness or tension that you feel there, you're just letting it go. And you're moving up along the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, letting go of all the tightness and tension that you feel there. And as you're letting go of all that tension, you feel yourself kind of sinking down into the ground. The back becomes kind of like it's kind of sinking down, right down into the carpet or into the bed or into the back of the chair. That's really good. And bring your attention now up to the back of your neck. You're letting go of any tightness or tension in the back of the neck now. Letting it go now completely. Very good. Bring your attention up to the back of your head now. You're letting go of any tightness or tension in the back of the head. Just let it go now completely. Very good. That's really, really good. Okay. Any tightness of tension now on the top of the head, just let it go completely. Brilliant. That's really, really good. Any tightness of tension now across the forehead, let it go now completely. Letting the forehead just become smoother and smoother now. Again, that's an area that people tend to hold quite tight. So just let go of any tightness of tension you feel there. Any tension or tightness that you feel in your eyes, just let it go. And your eyes are just closed very gently. Not very tight. That's good. Bring your attention down to your mouth. Again, any tightness or tension that you feel there, you let it go completely. Very good. Bringing your attention now across your shoulders. That's fantastic. Let go of any tightness or tension that you feel there. Shoulders definitely an area that you can hold quite tight, so just let it go now completely. Any tightness or tension there, let it go now completely. And right down along your arms into your hands now. Let go of any tightness or tension. Right down into the hands. Now you will notice in general, people will notice like an energy in your hands, like a tingling sensation. Or it's almost like you have like a ball of light in both hands, because the energy is passing right down along the arms and into the palms of the hands. That's excellent. Very good. Bring your attention across the chest. Any tightness of tension in the chest, just let it go completely. Bringing your attention down to your stomach. Any tightness or tension in your stomach, just let it go now completely. That's excellent. Again, the stomach is an area that you tend to hold quite tight. And obviously, any tension in the stomach area affects your digestive system, which is not a good plan. So you're paying attention to that and you're letting go of all the tightness and tension that you feel there. And that returns the digestive system back to its proper balance, allowing you to absorb all the nutrients from the food that you've digested. That's it. And all the organs associated with digestion and elimination are given a boost by allowing yourself to relax to that degree. That's fantastic. So you're just drifting even deeper now into relaxation. And as you become even more relaxed now, the circulation is freed out. And it just moves through the body now very smoothly and easily. And it carries all the nutrients now that your body needs, carrying all the nutrients into all the vital organs within the body. That's it. So increasing their vitality. So you're increasing the vitality of all the organs throughout the body, allowing that flow of nutrient-rich blood to pass through and be capable of transferring that nutrient to all of those, to the cells and to all of those organs within the body. So you're dropping even deeper now into relaxation, completely relaxed. That's really, really good. Completely relaxed now. And you will notice that as you're becoming even more relaxed, that you feel an energy passing through the body. It's like if you could bring your attention to the top of your head and you can, in your mind's eye, you will be able to see like a brightness in the top of the head or in the top inside your head. And as you're looking at that then, it just sweeps down through the body and you can feel it sweeping down through the body, right down through the neck, through the shoulders, through the chest, right down into the stomach, right down along the back, down into the hips, down into your thighs, down into your calves, and out through the soles of your feet now. And as it moves through everything, they light up brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now, brighter and brighter and brighter, and all those cells getting brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now as they pass, that energy passes through them and ignites those cells, and they light up with life. The vital ingredient that they need is they're filling those cells with that life, and it's just pouring through the whole cellular structure of the body. And it's like you have a little, like a microcosm, like a universe in miniature of a physical body, which has all these planets and cellular structures all full of light now as it passes through them. And as it passes through them, they can then move in the way that they need to move to perfect your health, to bring about this perfect health for everybody. That's fantastic now. And you're moving into an even deeper level of relaxation. And as you do, in your mind's eye, that light seems to be getting brighter in the head. And as you're looking at it now, it sweeps down through the body, right down through the body, and out to the soles of your feet and out to the palms of your hands. And as it does that, it totally transforms you physically and mentally, bringing about a perfect balance in all of the cells and carrying on out to everyone belonging to you. And it passes through them out to everyone belonging to them. And it just keeps on going. And it's like a huge wave of light passing over the whole globe of the world. In your mind's eye, you can see that globe transforming with that light. It just lights up brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter as it passes over the whole world. And it seems to be going right through the structure of the world. And the world itself seems to get brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's fantastic. And we're bringing our attention now back to the head again. But this time now, that light is incredibly intense, very, very bright. And we feel incredibly well. And as we're looking at it now, it just sweeps down through the body, right out through the body and out through the soles of your feet, out through the palms of your hands, passing through everybody belonging to you now. They just ignite brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and passing on from them to everyone belonging to them. And it's going out in this huge wave of light, like liquid gold, passing out like a wave of that light, passing out over the whole globe of the world. Now brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. Brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's fantastic. That's marvelous now. So every time you do the relaxation yourself, it not only has this incredible effect on you and transformation on you, but it goes out to everyone belonging to you. And it affects them incredibly positively as well. And you will find that if you practice every single day, you will notice that presence of that energy. It's like it's constantly there after a while. It's kind of like the phrase that people would use where you feel like you're buzzing with energy all the time because you've relaxed so much. And if you practice it every day, you'll find it stays with you longer and longer and longer now. So we're bringing our attention now back up to the head again. But this time now, it's actually so bright, it's actually hard to look at it. So you're just watching it now, and it just sweeps down through the body, moving through every single cell. They just light up brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's it, moving right through the body like a wave, passing through the whole body, passing through every single cell, the millions and millions of cells, out through the soles of your feet, out through the palms of your hands now, and right out, passing right out to everyone belonging to you, passing out to everyone belonging to them. They just get brighter and brighter. And you can see that like a wave of people with light passing out over the whole world. And every person that it touches off, it ignites that energy and light in them, and they become brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. And that wave just continues on out throughout the whole world, brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's it. And in your mind's eye, you can see that world. It's like you're part of that incredible light. That's fantastic. That's really, really good now. Brighter and brighter and brighter now. That's fantastic. And every time you do the relaxation yourself now, you will move into an even deeper level of relaxation. Carrying that with you now throughout the day. until we meet again. So when I count from 3 back up to 1, you will find yourself just gently drifting back up to the surface, but you're taking with you this experience now, this sense of well-being, this energy that is pouring out through your, literally through your pores, from you out to everyone belonging to you. That's really, really good. So when as I count from 3 back to 1 now, you will find yourself just drifting gently back up to the surface, but you're taking all this with you now. 3, gently now and easily drifting back up to the surface, but that energy now pouring from your hands and pouring from your feet, and you can feel it and see it passing through all the cells, and they're just ignited and brighter and brighter and brighter now. And it's taking care of every situation that it needs to take care of on your behalf. Looking after everything that needs to be taken care of. And you're letting it. 2, gently and easily moving right back up to the surface, feeling very relaxed and very, very well. As we reach 1 now, the eyes will just open again, but you will find yourself coming back to where you are, but you're feeling incredibly relaxed and very, very well. 1. That's fantastic, eyes. Just opening the eyes now and feeling really, really well. Now, very good.
Yeah, feeling brighter after that. That was amazing. That was brilliant.
Great. Yeah,
Great. I hope people enjoyed that.
You kind of know yourself that it's going out and people are picking it up. It's a strange thing. It's like a loop. And if you start feeling that, then you know people are actually, they're able to allow it out, and it's going out and it's doing its job, you know, so, which is marvelous.
Brilliant. Really, so Pam said she enjoyed it with her kids. Fantastic. That's brilliant. That's Pam in Manchester. Pam, I think you are definitely brighter.
Well,
good. And there was a few questions from Harvey actually. Can you please recommend supplements or foods to include in your everyday diet to increase your life force? We did talk about it a bit, but we can.
The trick is very simple. You eat foods that are alive. Now, okay, Jamie will understand this next day, but I do not run out and grab the poor unfortunate beast traveling by, minding its own business. Okay, I'm talking about salads, fruit, and all live foods. And if you predominantly eat them, and then whatever other forms of protein that you take in, that will make a massive difference to you. So you're talking about live foods would be salads just out of the ground and all associated tomatoes, carrots, all the stuff that you would normally put into a salad. And then all the fruits. So if you take that type of food, say the fruit in the morning and then a salad in the evening, and then whatever protein you normally eat with that, that would be a massive change in the amount of life force available to you. Now, I mean, I don't know where you're at. If I'm on that and it's a version of what I'm actually taking myself, you're not going to be able to win Mr. Ireland or anything like that, because your weight will go down a bit. So it suits me at my age not to be carrying too much weight. Now, I don't like going too far down the scale, but certainly if you're taking in that type of food, I think you'll find that certainly your weight will change. It will go down. That may be suiting some people, I suppose. I mean, that may be what they're trying to do, and so on. So in general, what I try not to do if I'm trying to increase the life force from a food point of view, I try not to give it foods that it has to struggle with. Now, the more processed the food is, the more it has to struggle with it to digest it. And so the processed foods they're kind of dead foods. So the body is using its own life force to inject life into it to digest it. So it takes your life away from doing what it should be doing, which is keeping you alive and well, to just digest dead food. So you're wasting your money and you're wasting the time it takes you to eat the food. Then you're actually getting yourself into a situation where your energy levels are now being misused and are not available to you. So the less processed food that you take in, the less your energy will be required to digest it. And that leaves a large amount of energy available to you. And that's health. That's how you increase health, because you're taking out of the equation foods that clog the system. They also poison the system, as a matter of interest. So all the elimination organs are struggling continually to deal with that. And they eventually, at a certain point, then you will find that they don't do so well. And then that's called chronic ill health. And they're pointing out one particular thing, saying, I was doing fine until this kidney started acting up. And I'm saying, no, you were not doing fine. And this didn't happen overnight. You nursed it along for a period of time by poisoning the poor unfortunate thing. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. But they eat foods that damage their system, and then they're surprised that they become unwell. I'm surprised they're still alive. There you go. That's the problem.
Oh dear.
In other words, you can't abuse the system continuously and then you're going to feel really well. That's not going to work. So any alteration towards increasing life force foods, they will benefit you immediately with increased energy, and you will feel very well. And you're also preventing further problems down the road. I mean, I don't mean to be ridiculous. You can sit down and have your Christmas dinner like everybody else, and that's fine. It's just what you do day to day. It's what you do day to day what counts at the end of the day. It's not the odd, I'm having my Christmas dinner routine that's going to be a problem. It's if you have a poor quality type of combinations of foods all the time, there's no break from that then. So you've now gotten your energy and you've employed it in just trying to deal with the stuff you're putting into the body all the time. Whereas it shouldn't have to consider itself. It shouldn't have to consider that. It should be being given food that is adding to the supply of energy that it already has. So think in terms of foods that will add energy and not take energy away.
Supplements for better vision.
Better vision.
Supplements for better vision.
Well, again, there are certain types of food that don't clog the system, and your vision is affected very strongly by how much clogging there actually is in the body. Now, you can take supplements for that as well, because you need zeaxanthine and you need lutein and you need vitamin A and vitamin D for your eyesight and to protect the fluids that are in the eye. And that's where supplements, believe it or not, can often be essential, because to get those through food, you probably not get enough of those nutrients. Now, other than that, you're on a majorly strict diet, and honestly, most people wouldn't stick it. It's only lunatics like me would put up with that sort of thing. But then that's when you're a nutritionist, you tend to be like that. Otherwise, you would never know what to put people on. So I'm on all these crazy diets all the time, and that's how I can just rhyme off a whole load of things and say, here, do this and this, because I've done it already. But most people wouldn't do that. So I'm aware of that. Supplements can make a big difference to things like eyesight and preserve your eyesight. And you've got problems like glaucoma and things like that, which are very serious. And that would come from, often from diabetes, which is an epidemic. they're talking about the pandemic out there, and I'm going, sorry, what about diabetes? That kills more people every year than any pandemic. I can guarantee you. But it also maims people. In other words, they lose their sight, they get glaucoma, and all of that. These things. So any alteration in the amount of foods that have a high life force changes the structure there and prevents you heading into things like diabetes, which protects your eyes, which means that you don't end up with something like that. So one thing is dependent on the other, and it all depends on how extreme you want it to be and what you want to do. But it's very easy to take evasive action on something like your eyesight. But if you're having any grief with it, you do need to take evasive action, because you don't want to damage it so that it's difficult to come back from that. You want to preempt it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so the body then is able to, take care of it and not deteriorate. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's, for instance, at my age, that everyone would have 20/20 eyesight, but that's not the point. I mean, you're still able to operate. Okay, you might wear reading glasses or whatever it would be, but nothing that's extremely not great, where your eyesight is so bad that you can't read and you can't watch the telly or whatever it would be that you normally like to do to relax. So then you need to take action on that. So supplements can be very useful if you're not prepared to do an extreme diet. And to be honest with you, I think for most people, it's not going to be a goer anyway. I wouldn't expect them to do that. Now, if they were very, very unwell, if they said to me, look, I've got cancer and I got this in my bowel and so on, I would say, okay, now we have to change your diet. We've no way around that one. And I've had to treat a couple of people even just recently, because the problem with it is that the type of diet and various other things, the environment around you could have damaged that. Nothing to do with you. I mean, unfortunately, most people, they make a mistake, if you want to call it that, in their ignorance, because no one has taught them anything about nutrition. It's a bit like saying, well, if somebody is a scientist or whatever it would be, and they know such and such about that, I may know nothing about that. Do you understand? But I may know about how to keep them alive, which they may be very grateful to learn. Do you see what I mean? Because they've had no time to pay attention to that, because this is what they do. And people are like that all the time. They do all sorts of other things, and they don't pay attention to maybe what keeps them in the game. Where if they don't get that right, then everything that they may be doing, everything that they're lived their whole lives for, it's gone. And I think that's, to me, it's not that hard to keep yourself in good condition so that you benefit from the hard work you're doing. It's of very little consolation, I think, to anybody if they earn a fortune and they spend it all in the hospital. I never thought that was a good trade-off.
Absolutely. No way.
Good trade-off.
So we have a few.
Yeah. So
sorry, we have a few more questions. There was, does it make a difference any time of the day you do relaxation?
Not really. No, people often say I do it before I get out of bed in the morning. If that works for you, great. And if I was going to suggest a time, I probably would suggest when you're going to bed. Now, the only danger is you'll fall asleep halfway through it. It's not such a bad thing, to be honest with you. It's not such a bad thing, and at least you get a good night's sleep. Now, other than that, if you have 20 minutes in the middle of the day and you're not going to be disturbed, that's great. That's the way I would look at that. But if I was going to practice, I would probably do it at night, so that I'm kind of tired anyway. Try not to fall asleep if you can, so that you get the full benefit of it. But if you do, you will notice that you get a really great night's sleep. So it's not a bad trade-off.
Okay, cool. And how long should you do relaxation for it to be effective?
Well, most of the ones that I do are about 20 minutes. I don't know if you need to do any more. I mean, you could do an hour, but most people wouldn't have the the concentration. And it sounds like a strange word to use, but they can't stay with it. Their mind will drift off. So they might as well get up and go off and do what
they start thinking about what they're missing out on, or that they're under pressure, or that they've got that time is creeping up on them.
That's the thing. So I always say, look, 20 minutes is terrific. If you can stay with it for 20 minutes, it's marvelous. You know, that's plenty of time, really.
Is a walk of life considered relaxation?
Well, I would consider it relaxation. Yeah, I have to say. Yeah, I would. Yeah, because a walk of life increases the amount of energy available to you, and you have this unity with everything around you at the same time. So it's a fantastic form of relaxation. Yeah, I think it's marvelous. Now, okay, looking for slightly different effects from a lying down relaxation, but the walk of life is incredibly invigorating, because then it really causes the flow of energy, and you also then get what's around you coming back at you in a loop. So you get all that unity. It's fabulous thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. So thank you very much, everybody who's leaving comments. Farak, I hope that's pronounced it right. Stephanie, Pam, thank you, Harvey, Bridget, yeah, loads of people. Thank you so much for joining in. We really appreciate it. It makes a difference when a lot of people come together to do relaxation.
Yes, it's great.
And thank you to you, Tom. It's the last one of 2020, and I hope that flashing blue light in the background is a Christmas tree and not somebody waiting to take you away.
No, the Christmas tree is on the background. Yeah, that's it.
Oh dear.
Nothing.
I've been worried about you for the whole hour, thinking that maybe this is it.
Difficulty finding me down there.
Oh, brilliant.
Past the dog. No.
That's true.
That would be a serious problem.
Absolutely. If you've ever seen Tom's dog, it's as big as Tom. St. Bernard. Yeah. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Tom, for the last 6 weeks. Really appreciate it. And to everybody watching, happy Christmas. Do catch up on the nutrition events. They were brilliant. No, Susan is concerned it was someone ready to take you away. She says not someone ready to take you away.
No. It's the Christmas tree.
Oh, great stuff. Good.
Susan, no, very difficult to get down to me down here. It would be very difficult.
Yeah, very difficult. Yeah, on purpose, I imagine. Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. We really enjoyed that. And have a great Christmas. Good luck. Goodbye.
Look, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye now.